Welcome to the Founders Forum podcast, brought to you by the Foxwell Founders, where we interview some of the hottest minds in D2C right now and deep dive on their area of expertise. Everyone that we interview here is a cherished member of our Foxwell Founders community of over 550 advertisers worldwide and are at the cutting edge of what is working right now. I hope you enjoy this, and if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Andrew at Foxwell Digital. And now let's get stuck into this week's episode. Here are Edwin and Tris, our hosts.
Three best ways that we've ever seen to deal with this is
it's one of the things that's working really, really well for our agency right now.
Question of the week, right?
He's going to spill all the tea on TikTok for us. What is the oh wow strategy of the moment? If it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Who buys it even at that time, right? Hey guys, welcome to Foxwell Founders Podcast. I'm Tris, and we're here with Ike Armstrong today, who's doing marketing for Huckberry. They are a one-stop men's shop who makes commerce and content. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Edwin, kick us off with the first question.
So the thing I'm most curious about is Huckberry does a bunch of stuff, but you guys also carry multiple brands. And so for Black Friday, tell me, what is your plan for Black Friday? Because your dynamic is completely different from a D2C play. So tell me more about that.
Yeah, it's a great question, Edwin. We're getting really excited about Q4 and Black Friday. One thing that's interesting for Huckberry is that as much as we are a men's shop making our own apparel, we have a design studio where we have a team that's crafting kind of unique, ingenuitive designs on specific apparel that we've found and think there's an opportunity to improve. We also are a marketplace too. So we have all these third-party products on our website. I think big brands, Patagonia. We were just talking about saunas, the three of us. We even sell barrel sauna kits. So we have a huge inventory. Think of your run-of-the-mill beanies and gloves that the consumer's getting excited about for the winter holiday, but then also these one-off, somewhat tangential, larger items. So the way that we kind of set up our marketing approach within Huckberry is we have our third-party products, which are used as a lure of a new customer acquisition driver. So you come to us with brands that you're familiar with. Think Patagonia. You like their jacket. You've come to Huckberry in search of that new Patagonia. But we open you up to this element of discovery and surprise on the website. And with that, we use it as a means of introducing what we call our house brands. Now, the most popular of our house brands, Flint and Tinder, is kind of the brand that it emulates what Huckberry is. The Flint and Tinder man is an outdoorsman. He's someone who is still in this professional career, but also likes to get dirty, get adventurous, and get out there. So when it comes to our Black Friday approach, we're all about creating funnels for our house brands and then also leveraging unique hand-picked products. So what I do is I drive a lot into curated gifting selection. And Huckberry is not very promotion heavy, but we will be running some strong hero product promotions through Q4. So what I kind of hinge on and think about is like we have that traditional Q4 promotion, and then we also have our evergreen value propositions that our customers come back and know us for so well. So how can we hinge kind of in this moment where traditionally we don't run a lot of promotions, now we're going to juice promotions and still keep that brand image and brand voice the same as year round when we're kind of tighter in our promotion sphere.
Makes sense. So just go into that a bit more. So specifically, if you've got a certain jacket or something like that you've got like a ton of variants of it in your house brand, your thing is bring in a Patagonia, bring in like 4 or 5 other brands that people are already aware of. They're Googling it. You're doing well on search results. You're doing well on what I suppose is now ChatGPT and stuff like that. You're showing up for these, and they're like, okay, this is where you buy this product. And then they find your product as well. So it's a discovery. So is it a loss maker on first purchase then? Because you obviously share, like in terms of margins then? Or like, we're going deep here real quick, but is that the kind of the play here? Is like it goes, we're not going to make a huge amount up front, but then when we find these people find us, we're going to make a ton in the end.
It's a great question, Tris. And it goes back and forth. Like sometimes we see that loss on the first purchase, but then we get to break even because we have such strong retention programs, email flow, blast messaging, SMS to really hold in and lure our customers that have converted with us. Huckberry is unique in the way that we spend a lot of time on our content. So when you get a Huckberry mailer, you're not going to get sold an item. You're going to get sold something and taught about something. We call it gear, not stuff. So
Okay.
when thinking about that first purchase break
Yeah.
even, we are a higher AOV storefront. So our goal is to break even from a margin basis on our customer acquisition costs of the new customer.
Okay.
Now, you had called out those third-party products do have a lower margin dollar amount than those house brand products. We try to do somewhat of a cross-sell upsell in that. So
Okay.
you might be lured in with that Patagonia jacket, but then we recommend to you before you check out a beanie, a wool beanie of ours that's at a competitive price point and so forth. So we're putting the ideas in your brain about these Huckberry house brands, kind of these core, smaller AOV products to start with. And then through the customer life cycle, you'll be sent numerous mailers, information, and then follow up.
So tell me some of your aha moments with your retention flow, right? Because like normally when I see a DTC company, right? Like and you look at their repeat customer rate within 12 months, maybe you'll see a couple that are like 2 or 3 purchases like per year, but those are sort of the outliers. That's not normal. I have a feeling with you it is very normal to see like well, I guess first tell me like where are you guys seeing like per year how many purchases people are making, and then tell me like some of the aha moments because this is something really curious to me.
And it's interesting to me, Edwin. Now, I do want to say that I work on the acquisition side, so I'm less
Okay.
well versed on the retention side. But a couple things from the growth marketing lens that have been interesting when we think about the customer life cycle and remarketing to them is
Yeah.
one, our brand is not just selling you one set of products. It's selling
Yeah.
you everything from, like I called out, the sauna to the beanie to the toaster
Yeah.
that sits in your kitchen. So
Yeah.
an aha moment from the marketing perspective is that we are a marketplace where customers, if we can make them aware and confident that we have guaranteed shipping speeds, that we have excellent customer service, that the product that you bought online is the product that you're going to get and it's quality and been vetted. It goes through kind of this internal like merchandising where everything that we're going to put on the website has a kind of a backed proven promise. So the aha moment is really how do we leverage from a growth marketing lens the extent of our entire catalog, knowing that we're going to be selling apparel, home goods, and hard goods to our customer to get them to repeat throughout the year, knowing that they're going to be looking for different things in different departments throughout the year. Does that answer your question?
And
It's
so
kind
how
of vague, I know, because it's. Go ahead.
yeah so then how do you actually leverage it then? So like you have this wide swath, right? And so most D2C brands, they pay lip service and they say, oh, I'm a lifestyle brand, but you truly are a lifestyle brand because you'll sell them the toaster and the sauna and the beanie that matches the actual lifestyle. And so tell me how you're actually leveraging.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one thing that we do to really leverage that is through our YouTube media. I mean,
Okay.
we have a whole extension of our organic presence and then our paid presence on YouTube. And
Yeah.
one thing that does is really cement that lifestyle. Like you just called out those 3 items. We're going to show you those in think like an architectural digest home tour format. Huckberry Homes is going to take you inside some of the life of aspirational men. It's going to
Okay.
show you those diverse set of products and get you aware of like, oh, that's unique for my life, and then reel you in there. That's kind of like the main thing that we're going to do is like we're going to show you a swath of different products.
Okay.
If and then we are going to essentially like root in different products throughout your experience with the company.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. So tell me just on that, like with can you come back to how your I guess your acquisition works? So you've got your acquisition on maybe a hero product that people know about. How much would you blend that with say for example an influencer or a UGC creative? Like how does that link up? Because you talked about aspirational men. That's really interesting because they're living the lifestyle. That's technically what an influencer is, right? It's kind of how people are doing. People are aspirational towards this. Do you find yourself leaning a lot more towards influencer marketing then and UGC?
Yeah, you know, it's something that we haven't leveraged in the past a whole lot, but we're ramping up quite a bit on our UGC and influencer marketing. So in the past, like I said, we've had this compilation of third-party and house brand products. We've used those third parties as a means of luring. As our house brand products have gotten more tethered and popular, such as the flannel lined wax trucker jacket, which was worn in HBO's The Last of Us show. As we've gotten pop cultural moments around these jackets, we've been able to hinge those through influencer and UGC content, and then combined that with our organic content to kind of create a path or a funnel, if you will, to say, oh, you saw this jacket in a pop culture moment. Here we are talking about it in our gear labs where we're looking at the details, talking about the apocalypse, and now you're being served with a direct response converting ad. So throughout the company's evolution, we've gotten more and more front and center with the hero products being our house brand products. We've got two real core hero products: the flannel line wax trucker, a waxed, nice, heavyweight flannel jacket, and then we have the 365 pant. And the 365 pant, the core benefit of that is that it's a super versatile pant and it fits perfectly. We have the Huckberry fit guarantee, which is across our house brands, you can expect that your pants are going to fit identical between them. So as we've carved out these niches, if you will, it's
that is a brave statement. That is because my legs are different from Triss's legs. Pants are the hardest. They are the hardest apparel item.
Pants are the hardest, Edwin. And so try out a pair of 365s and let me know. You know what's so I think, Triss, to your point, it's been as we've grown the business and as our hero products, our house brand core products have gotten more popular organically and through the paid lens, we've been able to shift those into the hero product slot, speak more to those products. People know them through word of mouth. So now we're engaging more with creator content and so forth.
Yeah.
And so tell me, so you mentioned YouTube before, right? And so a lot of our listeners, they're very familiar with Meta. You guys run heavy into YouTube, and so tell me how that has sort of helped you guys grow. Like, what are you guys looking at? How are you guys approaching it? Because I feel like that is an area that not a lot of our listeners go as deep as you guys do.
Yeah, it's a great question, Edwin. I think there's a lot of untapped potential on YouTube still. I'm very bullish and excited on YouTube, specifically for Huckberry, where we have a big organic presence. We have about 220,000 followers to our organic channel. That's all over the world. And we only sell and distribute to the United States of America. However, what we find is that when we take our long form organic content, which is, like I said, it's these architectural digest home tours, it's farm to table experiences of local cuisine, stuff that's not necessarily as much there to show you about the brand and the product, more to show you a lifestyle and teach you something. We take those long form content, we chop that up, and we create funnels within YouTube to drive conversions and action from our customers. So we'll use our organic YouTube presence as a means of remarketing organic video viewers with shortened versions of maybe the longer video that they've seen that distills down to those product shots. So I think we're in the field where go ahead, Edmund. Do you have a question?
Like you're remarketing on YouTube, or you're cutting it up and you're putting it on the other platforms?
We're remarketing it on YouTube. So we're taking that organic, long form, 30-minute content, we're chopping it down to be more product centric, and then we're remarketing video viewers of that organic content with these more product focused shots. And then once they're into our remarketing funnel, if you call it, we have a lot of, like Triss called out, UGC, creator, direct response, lifestyle, varying age group demographics, where we will link in videos that are of the same product that you were viewing before, say in the shortcut of the long form, and then push you down the funnel that way to teach you more about the product, to take you in from like the production design side to say, this is why you need this, and this is why it's differentiated.
And so tell me about the, so you I'm sure you didn't start off doing that, right? So tell me what did you guys start off doing? And then now you guys have this process in place, which obviously is working for you. And tell me, how different is the performance on this process that you guys have compared to what you guys were doing, let's say, at the beginning?
Oh, radically different. I mean, I
Okay.
think of YouTube as you need to warm up your audience on YouTube. And so
Okay.
what we were previously doing was somewhat unrelated creatives to our organic content. So you might see a testimonial of our best-selling pants having not necessarily been introduced to the brand before. And in a time when there's a lot of different brands that not everyone can keep up with or nor know about, we found that just that hit them with a direct response, it wasn't producing like the desired result. Conversion rate was low. Our view through conversions was low. We weren't seeing incremental returns from that YouTube media. But when we start with a funnel strategy, we know it's going to take longer to get the customer to the conversion, but we know we can do a better job to inform them and keep them engaged. So when we shifted to pairing our organic content with our commerce strategy, knowing that we're going to introduce you through a brand awareness play, a longer form play, and then if you were engaged, we're going to push you down our funnel.
Yeah.
It's been night and day. I mean, the brand lift that we see is like 3x what we used to see just running standard video campaigns. We see, incremental returns on YouTube where, we had a long time trying to struggle what like the triangulation of YouTube KPIs look like. But, I think like the most core aha moment has been a soft introduction makes the world of difference, as opposed to a hard sell without any introduction. Yeah.
So how does that lead into your CAC then? So if you're doing a lot of top of funnel stuff, that sounds like it's game changing. It's taking you to that next level. It gives people. I'd say your LTV is probably better. I know you don't talk necessarily about your retention, but I'd say your LTV is like night and day, as you say. But in terms of your actual acquisition, then how are you justifying a much higher CAC, no doubt, with the longer tail kind of the LTV on that? Is there kind of some sums in the background, or are you going straight in and be like, our CAC is fine?
It's a great question, Tris. It's not the latter. I wish it was. If we could, do a little, our CAC is fine. We use a means of triangulation internally where I'm sure most brands of our size are getting to this now, where we know that no platform is going to be the utmost source of truth or North Star for us. So we use a combination of the UI. So we're looking at what's our CPM, what's our view rate, what's our engagement rate. We're using the UI really for those engagement metrics because we want people to take action when they see our videos. And then beyond the UI, we're looking at our measurement provider dashboard within Measure to look at the incremental returns. We're using scale testing methodology to push harder in certain sell markets and then see what the overall business impact is on our top line revenue when we push harder on YouTube. So these two things are core. Another thing that we use to layer in is post-purchase survey responses. These have been really valuable as we've increased our middle and top of funnel presence because, just like you said, there's no real way to connect, clearly a video view campaign to a brand conversion. So we use post-purchase surveys to get a bead and a bill of health on where are you coming from, where are our new customers coming from, because we do want to be driving net new. So where can we identify net new reach and also identify net new users are coming in post-conversion?
Okay. And so when you log in on a Tuesday morning, you look at your dashboard, you look at your measurement dashboard, what's healthy? Like, are we looking at, you're not really looking at CAC per se on a daily basis, or are you? Maybe not. You're not making in-platform adjustments based on CAC on a daily basis. You're looking at trends of how your viewability and everything else is, and then CAC falls out of the bottom of that?
Somewhat. We're looking at media efficiency ratio. So if I'm looking at my MER, I'm going to take into account all of my funnel spending and then somewhat think about that in the way that it plays on my overall revenue at a company level, knowing that we also are, consent mode is active. We're losing UTM parameters. There's some visibility loss. And so we do view more and more, I guess, less from a channel perspective and more from an overall company. How are our upper funnel initiatives affecting the bottom line as we scale and move about?
And so what, as of this moment, what is the primary channel for you guys? Is it YouTube? Is it Meta? Like what is, because you guys are running the post-purchase stuff. I guess first tell me what is the channel that is putting the most new customers into the system?
It's interesting. So we run a lot on Meta and we run a lot on Google. And YouTube is actually, it's a smaller portion of the pie compared to those two, but we're finding more and more that it is a new customer acquisition device. But everything that Trish just called out, I think, has been the challenges to getting that media investment and feeling really confident when it comes to juicing scale there. So
Yeah.
when we think about where the new customers come in, they come in primarily through Google or through organic search. But where they're being driven is largely on Meta. Now, we do a lot of meta tactics to highlight those house brands. So our core
Okay.
campaigns are going to be, a very creative heavy on pushing value propositions on specific products or lines. We know that there's going to be a halo effect that transcends into conversion focused channels. So Meta is primarily the tactic of new customer acquisition paired with YouTube ads.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. I like that. So, I mean, where does that go in Q4? Do you because you're looking a lot more at brand tactics and overall, because going into Q4, is it because you mentioned obviously having sales and obviously good promotions that are coming up? Are you more focused then on now pushing it so that in November it's going to be a lot bigger because of all the brand stuff that you've been doing? Because obviously the path to purchase is a lot longer, especially the way you're doing it, which is no problem, but it's more of a surge more than a spike.
Yeah, absolutely. So last year Q4, we did not surge in November. We didn't surge in October, November. We kind of followed the I'd say like the traditional demand thought, which is like we'll surge on Black Friday, we'll surge through Cyber 5 and go from there to capture as much revenue demand as possible. But this year we've changed our plan of attack and we're front loading a lot of that, like you called out.
Okay.
So we're fueling that funnel, the upper funnel tactics, Meta and
Yeah.
YouTube, probably extending over what we would consider like a healthy MER right now, with the hope of when gifting season time comes, when the website flips to be more holiday oriented, customers are going to remember those value propositions that we put forth ahead of time.
Yep.
Gift Huckberry, get adventure, gear, not stuff. These things that will kind of cut the noise of the rest of what everyone else is selling, so to speak. So yeah, certainly trying to push hard and fill the funnel now.
Yeah.
And so how early are you going then? So last year you guys were like, you guys wanted to kick off at Black Friday and follow the traditional surge. You're coming in earlier this year. How early are you coming in?
We're coming in right now. So we started ramping
Yeah.
up. Yeah, right now. So yeah. So
Middle of October, we're
gift it.
talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it feels early, but what we find is that sales are picking up. And one thing I should caveat about the brand too is that
Okay.
we're heavy fall winter. So that is
Yeah.
something that affects us too. So seasonality is certainly on our side as the temperatures get colder.
Yeah.
We have we've talked about like our existing customer LCV and like that strength of our remarketing and retargeting and retention flow. Customers remember us, I think, for our unique hand-picked selection. And that's something that we really drill into is this holiday season, get them something that they're really going to enjoy, use, and like. And so we're already planting those seeds of like, you're going to see a lot of promotions. You're going to see a lot of products and ads that are coming your way. This is actually something that's unique and worth your time maybe to come back to.
Makes sense. So Edwin loves a 30% discount Black Friday straight out the gate. It works out. It works out for a lot of people. I'm more on the side. It's devil and angel, who's which, but I'm more on the side of value add. Right, so just to keep the price the same, but add more value in for the same price. We're two sides of the same coin, Edwin. We're still making coin. Doesn't matter.
It's true.
Right. But the question for you, Ike, I mean, look, when it comes to Huckberry, like, is it a value add or is it a straight out, right, get your discount now because you've done all that legwork that is amazing. The content that you're putting in there is amazing and really built people up. But is it like hit them with a 30% and you're just going to empty out that funnel?
So it's a bit of both. Like I don't think we're doing like a value add necessarily in the way that we're sending like a free product or something, but beyond that hero deal that we're going to offer to squeeze the funnel, if you will, knowing that our customer base is aware that we don't have a lot of sales. They're hungry for it and we want to give it to them too and let them shop, maybe above where they normally could. So we're certainly going to lean on that hero markdown offer as our first driver of a promotion. But we are going to lean also on free shipping days. We're going to offer, expedited free shipping. We're going to offer some value adds that you wouldn't normally get when shopping on Huckberry. So somewhat of the two.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, a tip for you as well. If you can get overnight, if you can sort overnight out, get it sorted, and people will pay way more. It's better to pay the overnight and have a present than not pay the overnight. We've seen that so many times. It works so well for us.
So going back, so before you were mentioning how a lot of your products, right? You're pushing value prop through Meta, right? And a lot of your products, so you mentioned a beanie, right? A beanie, I hate to say it, but a beanie is a beanie, right? But in the advertisement, you're like, this is a Huckberry beanie, right? And
Yep.
but tell me more about your process about how you are identifying the value props that are resonating with your customer, because right, a red beanie is really, it's a red beanie, but if you present it as a red Huckberry beanie and you have the right USP, it hits totally different. And so tell me, how do you guys get there?
A Japanese beanie made with wool. You know, these kind of things are learned through, we call them VIP happy hours. So one thing that we do at our headquarters is we'll have, and if you have a physical business or, you know, a coffee shop near you, this can be
Okay.
a great driver, I think, of getting to know your customer more, is we invite our VIP customers to happy hours to engage with our co-founder, with, you know, the team, the marketing team, with the brand content team, and we ask them, these discerning customers of ours, what is it that's most valuable to you when you do your shopping as a man? You know, what are you
Oh,
looking for? So we like to engage with our customers actually kind of face to face to find out more about their shopping habits, more about what they're looking for, and then use that to inform the value propositions that we're after. Now we also, you know, I think like that's the high level, is just getting to know your customer persona really well, what they're looking for, and scrutinizing. There's also the lens of, we know that a beanie is a beanie, and you can find one for $5 on Amazon if you want to. So we do need to lean on those core USPs.
yeah.
100% merino wool, made in Japan. This is the product differentiator. So it's a little bit of both. Our
Okay.
customer persona is probably what guides, though, the main marketing messages and the USPs that we're going to include in paid media and who we're speaking to.
Okay. So, but you do it, even though you do it digitally, the driver is in real life. Like you guys are,
Yeah.
you, you guys are like 3 beers deep. Tell me why this beanie?
Exactly. Typically
Bit, bit of
whiskey, but yeah.
Il Vino Veritas there. I think that's a good. It's always a good one.
Fair.
I mean, that's how you're driving product. That's how you're driving messaging. Like, you guys are designing product all the time. Is it coming from the same source? Are you hearing more, like, from these people? Hey, I'd like that thing, or that I've heard about this thing. It's cool. That's the kind of stuff you're doing.
Oh yeah, it's a, you know, our product design team is super engaged. So thinking about all of like the common things, you know, going out, you know, workshopping, meeting with other brands, like we talked about Buck Mason, thinking about like you know, I'm less involved with fashion design, but I know that they are deeply rooted in not only staying up on trends, but also leaning into that core customer. Everything at Huckberry is about Jack. Jack is our core shopper. He is the guy who's coming and shopping with us. And to us, you know, it's the one-stop men's shop. So it's important that we stay true to Jack. It's important that we don't think that we know him. It's important that we actually know him and meet him where he wants to be and engage with him there. So while again, it's like, while digital and while on YouTube and while we might be remote here, it's so important that we take the time to actually like get to know, why did we cut through the noise for you when so many other, you know, things are distracting you.
And
so
so,
interesting.
what are some other ways that you've gotten to know your persona, Jack, right? Like, what are some of the key questions that you asked in your post-purchase survey that gave you like real needle-moving insight into this
Yeah.
persona?
You know, I think one that's been really unique is just, who are you shopping for today? Are we, you know, are we seeing a lot of Jack shopping for themselves? Are these gift givers? Are they shopping for their
Okay.
significant others? And that's helped inform the merchandising allocation when it comes to, do we stock a lot of clothes that Jack would be buying for himself, or gifts that he might be searching for his family? So that question has really
Okay.
helped guide, like, is this a gift giving purchase, or is this
Okay.
a self gifting or self made purchase? And then how long ago did you hear about us? I think that one's been really informational when it comes to channel attribution. If you said that you heard about us from YouTube, how long ago did you hear about us? Maybe 4 weeks? What we find is that if we were to compare the results of, say, Google Shopping or Google text ads with Meta, the latency period when someone had heard about us is weeks different. So we see with Google, instant, you've heard about us. But of course, with, views, view through and click through conversions, we know that it's going to be more latent. So you might find 4 weeks ago you heard about us. So that's helped inform like a latency period when it comes to an adjustment factor, which helps inform our channel budget allocations.
Absolutely. It's so forward thinking. It makes a ton of sense. It's like be the brand rather than be the numbers. That's what you're doing. You're driving that forward. So, I mean, with Jack and with Huckberry, what's the future? What does 2025 look like? In a insert president name here world, what is that going to be like? What is the plans? How are you going to evolve on this? Because it seems like you guys are already ahead of the game, but to keep ahead, you're going to innovate. So, what are you guys thinking about next year?
We're continuing down the successful road of thoughtful growth with our customer in mind. So the next year will really be about how can we continue to drive the value of these house brands. We're also excited that we're going to be opening our first brick and mortar store. So we're going to have some omni-channel on the East Coast. It hasn't officially been announced yet, but I can say it's on the East Coast.
Do we get an exclusive on this podcast?
Absolutely. This is this has been years in the works, but I'm really excited that we're going to open our first store. So we're going to have some omni-channel focus in the next year on the growth acquisition marketing team. We're going to give Jack that experience of the in-store, which I think is hard, and why we've excelled at our e-commerce presence is that we've stayed true, like you talked about, Edwin, to the customer first.
Yeah.
And that's hard. If you don't have a physical storefront, it's hard to be a website that really can engage and interact with your customers. So this physical retail location is really going to help bridge us to the community, which I'm really excited about. And then just honing in and focusing on our house brand allocation and driving home kind of our place in the market for our house brands. So while, at the outset I talked about these third-party products that are coming in, let's show the customer and continue to show the customer why our products are better than the products that they might have been introduced and bought initially.
And what coffee are you serving at your new Japanese? Are you going to bring it in from Japan?
It'll be something.
Irish whiskey. If you're going to have whiskey, have some Irish whiskey. That'll sort it. They'll buy whatever you give them then.
Yeah, exactly. Take another 4 of this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But that's going to be amazing. And so in that experience, obviously, so from an e-commerce standpoint, again, we're just kind of, I'm asking numbers questions, but I get that this is kind of moving towards an experiential feeling and kind of a Virgin Megastore, as it were. Go in, listen to the CDs, see what it's like, and then you can buy some, bring it home. Where does that sit in terms of obviously it's experiential, but how is that going to take away from your e-commerce sales? Is obviously people in that location, is it going to be more of a destination location, or is it going to just people walking by and hopefully people pop in?
It's going to be the latter. It's going to be that heavy storefront or heavy foot traffic storefront where people are walking by, introducing themselves to us. They can come inside, learn a bit about us. So not so much a destination. Now, maybe someday we hope to have that in a ranch or some kind of maybe a skiing destination and so forth.
Nice.
But this will really prove itself as a heavy foot traffic awareness tactic. And I think it's interesting, certainly will be some attribution challenges that we'll need to solve. One thing that's unique about Huckberry is we've only been selling on our domain, on huckberry.com. We are foraying into Amazon as a new marketplace now, and that's come with its own, not challenges, but ways of thinking about how do our upper funnel tactics feed into an incremental purchase on a marketplace that isn't our own. So I'm sure we'll be met with a subset of questions that are, what is our media doing and how is it informing our store sales or our store foot traffic? But I think we'll still continue with that methodology of thinking about the overall company's revenue in relation to how we're fueling our marketing funnels.
Yeah.
And so your brick and mortar, you're opening it up in the coming year. How are you guys thinking of it from a financial point of view? Are you guys taking it as basically like let's say the rent is 30,000, right? High foot traffic. We're in New York, or you're in Boston, wherever it is, and let's say rent is 30,000. Are you just gonna treat it like I just want to break even? I just want to wash it because I just want this as an awareness play, or are you like, no, man, like we are making money off this? Like,
Yeah, I mean, Edwin, this is
How
a
are you
great question. I don't know, and I don't want to tell an answer that I don't know.
Of course.
I would think from a growth marketing lens, though, it would have to be a bit of both. We
Okay.
would want to quantify the impressions, similar to like a billboard or digital out of home play. We'll want
Yeah.
to quantify a semblance of like a metric to the store's impressions that we're driving, while also maintaining and a siloed P&L for that retail location to know that it's operating in good health. So I think the hope would be both. There is a break-even goal, but also this knowledge that this store is going to do wonders for introducing customers to a $400 jacket that they
Yeah.
were apprehensive about purchasing online, but
Yeah,
when they
yeah.
see it in their hands, they see this full-grain leather, these details so well. So I think it'll be a bit of both, where even if the store initially, is kind of operating at a bit of a loss, so to speak, we're still this place where customers can finally go and discover our product and connect with the brand a bit more. So that'll be, I think there'll be a semblance of fleshing that out, and I'm not as well versed in it, but I think it'll be a bit of both, which is a great question.
Who'd have thought
Yeah.
in the middle of COVID we'd have an awareness play as a shop front? Like,
Oh.
you guys
Oh.
are getting a shop front for an awareness play. I absolutely love that.
But that's the little secret of like there's so many large D2C brands that use the store as the awareness play. It's like insane.
Yeah, yeah, it makes a ton of sense.
We're joking about whiskey, we're joking about coffee, but I think that is the next evolution of the retail storefront. And you bet Huckberry will have something similar where you're coming in not just to shop and it's a lifeless experience, but you're going to engage with the employees that work there. They're going to hear your story and vice versa. And I think about it as like a community place where you can come, gather, hang, not necessarily for the sole purpose of buying. Of course, we want you to make a purchase, but also to connect with us as a brand.
Interesting. And so, in terms of Huckberry, just switching gears a bit back to online. So, what do you guys roughly revenue limit at the moment?
Yearly, we're doing about
Yeah.
150 million plus in revenue.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's actually a really good. So at that benchmark, and the spend. Say you're doing a certain percent in MER and on your spend. How is your marketing team structured? So you're working on the acquisition side. Tell me a bit more
Yep.
about the structure of the acquisition team in a brand that size.
Yeah, so we actually are a pretty lean, scrappy team, which I like
Nice.
because it allows us to move on our toes easily. And so we are we've got three arms, so to speak. We've got the paid search arm, we have the paid social arm, and then we have our affiliate creator arm. And within these tracks, there's, a total of 6 people. So a small team that are working within these different disciplines. And so that's kind of the team structure. We have these 6 core media buyers, tactical people working within the channels themselves. Ancillary to that, we have a creative team that's focused just on performance marketing creative with a creative strategist that bridges the gap of data-driven insights to the creative team so that we can go back to the drawing board and iterate on what's working and what's not. And then we work very closely with data and finance. Marketing, data, finance is this trio of growth for Huckberry, who works very closely together to make sure that 1, we have investment to put the media forward, 2, we put the media forward as best as we possibly can, and then 3, we attribute it as best as we can. So we work really in lockstep with data and finance to make sure that anything that's happening on the media buying side, we're tracking internally, and that there's a firm justification to why that purchase is being made from the revenue lens.
Nice. I like that. That's really, and that makes a ton of sense because then the people in the actual channels know their stuff, but then it has to lead up into everything you're doing. And then there's somebody making the puppeteer at the top, making sure that we're going the content route, because it makes a ton more sense to have someone knowing as a marketer, and then you've got the people, the channel specialists in there.
Exactly, totally. And I think one benefit of ours is, again, we're a lean team, so we're able to iterate and move quickly on, if we want to pursue a different channel or a different approach and campaign tactic. So that gives us some room to work there. where we don't have a lot of red tape to cut through, which is nice.
Nice. And so you're talking to two agency owners. The question on my lips is, anyway, is why are you doing it? Why did you build up the internal team as opposed to taking it and putting it in an agency? Because there's two different ways of doing it. We work with brands similar size to yours, and I've seen both sides. Very good that you guys are doing it that way, but I'd like to know the rationale behind it.
So when I came into Huckberry, we were working with a couple different agencies. I came from an agency background myself, and the decision to change to in-house management from the agency side really came from a lens of growth. The company found themselves at a place where they had historically relied on agencies for their media buying, so they were less informed internally about how these agencies and the revenue that they were driving, the tactics that they were pursuing, kind of funneled into overall company performance. And so the decision to move in-house, and some of the media had already been run in-house, big, large CTV buys, some meta media. But I think that the core thing was just wanting to become more ingrained with the overall business operations, knowing that we have a huge internal data lake. Our finance and revenue team is top notch and very up on the company health on a daily lens. The team was just being led by an individual that was managing agencies, which was causing some blindness and somewhat of a slowness reaction time when it came to making quick decisions. So we still, certainly there's still a need for agencies when it comes to being that strategic partner, thinking about creative attribution and so forth, channel expansion. But for these core channels, Google, YouTube, and Meta, it was pretty plug and play to move in-house and kind of inform our media approach then. And I think where we went is maybe we felt that we were overexpending, investing a little heavily for the returns that we were getting with the agency. Now we've come in-house, done a holistic health analysis. Are we spending what we should be spending and so forth? Are we getting these returns that we want? And now we can be a bit more agile internally, but also engage with agencies when we find ourselves in need of that external support and consultation.
Makes a ton of sense. Thank you for the honesty. I went a bit off piece there, but I think it's just I'm very interested. Obviously, as you guys grow, what was the decision to do that? Because it's so many people go, oh, agencies are shite. They're so detached, it doesn't work. And then agencies are like, well, you're not giving us all the information.
Exactly.
They're butting heads, and this is actually really refreshing to kind of say, well, we did it, it worked, but then we actually wanted to go and grow this way, but we still engage, which is really, really nice to see.
Absolutely. I mean, the media buying component and everything being AI driven has gotten easier in platform, but also so much harder because it's hard to cut through the noise, as we've talked about. And that's where I feel that an agency partner can really help, is to drive your strategy, to poke holes, to rip band-aids off. So always a proponent of involving an agency with your media to get that second set of eyeballs.
You paint
on.
it like someone coming along with a baseball bat, just knocking your plan apart and be like, fix that, change that, that's wrong. Yeah, I love it.
I know how it be. Yeah, on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, listen, I don't know, Edwin, have you got any more questions?
I've gotten all my questions. It was really cool, man. It's really interesting how you guys fleshed out the personas and your Jack persona is it's really, because I think you guys also Uncrate. I'm thinking about Uncrate because I think one of my watch dealers supplies the watches for, well, he supplies it for Uncrate. But I collect all vintage watches, and so
Awesome. Yeah.
it's your persona is a very interesting customer.
Yeah, and the men's retail space is an interesting space too. I mean, it's as men ourselves, it's hard to shop sometimes, and Huckberry's a great place to get it all under one store. So yeah,
I want one bill. Thank you very much. Done.
Well, that's a wrap for us, guys. We have learned so much about personas, about YouTube, about everything. Ike from Huckberry, it has been a pleasure. I'm Edwin.
I'm Tris.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate the time.